Hello again. Thank you guys for joining. I am going to connect with my little Curvy world so we can be able to get this started. I hope you guys are having a really good Friday. I'm going to invite her in right now so that we can go ahead and start talking to you guys about content creation. And I know that some of you guys are very... Hi again. That's my husband. About being able to create and develop your storylines. So, hi!
There we go.
There we go. How are you?
I'm great. You?
Good. Doing good.
we had to figure it out, but we got it figured out, right?
We did. It was actually simpler than what we thought it was going to be. So,
awesome. Yeah, it was. First time.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You look nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I like the jewelry and everything, girl. You about to go somewhere?
I try to come prepared.
Exactly.
Actually, I gotta grab my paper real quick. Hi, made it to be better. Hi, you guys. I'm grab my paper real quick.
My sis, how y'all doing? Thanks for coming by. Hey, Toy Stories.
Yes. So, what I was sharing with some people who may not know is that we all do our storylines different in the doll community. Some of us do fashions. Some of us, the Great Plastic Adventure. Some of us may end up doing random pictures. Some of us do storylines.
Yes.
So for those of us who are interested in storylines, where we do storylines or we just follow other people who have storylines, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Put Jazzy on my shoulder.
This is her favorite place to be. It is.
That's so cute.
Yeah, she sits up here so well. So I just let her stay up there. When she gets tired, she'll slide down.
Yeah, that's because she got the made to move body.
Yeah.
I
will admit, my Nita is a little bit harder to pose because of her body. You know, like how her body is, but yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So you want to get into it? I wrote down some points for us to go over so we just kind of stay on track.
I kind of look dark. Do you think I look too dark?
Are you able to put on maybe like one more light?
How that look? I had Ella over there on Spotlight.
Oh, okay.
I need to put myself on Spotlight.
You sure do.
Is that better?
There you go.
Kind of glare on my glasses. That's
I think that you need it more on that side. There you go. You can just kind of like, yeah, right there, right in there, right in there. Okay. Yeah,
we getting together.
If you go in just like a little bit more, then we can see you more. Yeah, there you go, sis.
Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome.
Okay, so one of our first things that we need to cover is our background and history as storyline creators.
All right.
Do you want to start or?
Nah, you can start.
Okay, well, for myself, I've actually been writing since I was really, really young. I'm originally from Detroit. Oh no, I told you when she gets tired, she'll leave. Okay, I'll let you have a good time. You just let her sit on my lap. I let her sit on my lap. She thinks she's tired.
Hey, Pound Chip. How you doing, Chip?
Hi. So I originally started writing when I was really young, and I'm just going to give a real quick history. And then from there, I just wrote a whole lot of different stories and short stories and narratives. I just really enjoyed, being more imaginative in that particular realm. From there, I'm originally from Detroit. From there, I ended up going into psychology and communications. I took a double major for my undergraduate. So, of course, with communications, you're still verbal and you're doing written. And to a certain aspect, you're doing written with your psychology, but it's more clinically based. So you're not you're not really able to put you into your writing because you have to stay what's going on. Yeah, it's more factual. So then I went to grad school for social work, and then that really wasn't me. I decided to go into the program at Spalding. What was it? Oh my goodness. It was my master's in fine arts. That's what it is, my MFA.
Okay.
And that's actually like during that particular journey is when I met my husband. And so we ended up getting engaged and then we got married.
Wow.
We had our first baby. I ended up pulling out from grad school and then I ended up doing writing at the church that we were at and doing plays at their church. And then I was
Oh,
over
okay. That's
the
where the play
ministry
stuff
for
comes from.
writing plays at church. And
Okay.
from there, just started publishing my writings. So then that's how I ended up becoming an indie author. Then I did some book tours and did some book signings. And that's been enjoyable. But
Wow.
prior to that, I actually used to do poetry readings. And I used to go to different places in town and go do poetry readings as well. So that's kind of like my back history. Right now, I still am an indie author and still write. And then, of course,
Yeah.
this right here has been an enjoyable hobby and just really,
Yes, it is.
just really been able to put myself into a different realm with my writing. So that's
Okay.
my background with it.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Well, my background started from when I was a little girl. I always collected dolls. My very first inspirational family that I had was, y'all remember the Hart family?
Yes, I had them.
Okay, I had the Hart family, and my mom bought them for me, and I took the babies with me one time and lost the babies. And my mom was really upset, and that kind of did something to me. So for then on, I always wanted to have a doll family again. But I didn't start writing to really till I got grown, because when I was younger, I was told that I had a learning disability, which I don't claim, but I always had a hard time really concentrating, staying focused on my schoolwork, and I didn't think I could write. You know, when you hear a teacher tell you that you can't read, so you just don't apply yourself. But I always had a vivid imagination. So when I finally got a teacher that understood the way I learned, see, everybody learned differently. The way I learned was she found out that I love music. I could pick up music real quick. I could play anything I hear on the piano. When she figured that out, she started working with me and playing music during reading time, and then I would pick up on reading. Well, when I got my confidence in reading, then I started writing. And
There you go.
when I wrote a story, my very first story, it was actually put in the newspaper because it was so inspiring. I was in 5th grade and I wrote a story about how I went to sleep and I dreamed that I went to ancient Egypt, and you know, we had to help build the pyramids and stuff like that, me and a few friends. And then, you know, in the story I wrote about how proud I was to finally get my first A, because before that I got bad grades all the time, because remember, I was told I can't read, I can't learn, which was not true. But after that, I started getting like straight A's and A's and B's. But in the story, I wrote about that, and that was in the newspaper. So after that, I got confident. Well, I went more into music and fashion design when I got in high school. So I took my majors was band. I played clarinet and I played saxophone. So y'all know where Jazzy get the saxophone from.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, she's my music side. And I went into fashion designing in high school, and I used to plan how we would do our yearly fashion show. So we would have a yearly fashion show. So that got me to drawing, and then I was in art class and I drew a lot. So Well, thank you. Yeah, it was the county paper, but it was still a big deal.
Yeah.
To come from a kid that was told she couldn't read, I was in a special class, to tell me that, to come into being a kid that got confident, that could read and read fluently now. I actually read stories
There
now,
you go.
but that was a story of overcoming, because I didn't think I could do that. And
I think that what you said is so important to kind of like put like a pause right there, because I believe that a lot of times when it does come to content writing and storyline writing, everyone thinks that they have to have this extensive background in it to be able to create stories. And that's not true. Not at all. You just have to be able to tap into that same imagination that you had as a kid, that you spent hours with your with your Barbie and your Ken playing, tap into that and then writing it out. It's no perfect way to it. There's some people who write in the first person. There's others that write in the third person. With mine, I do it kind of like a play, as far as putting down who's speaking and then the dialogue. I've read some where they use their pictures as the dialogue. So they'll say they're having a girls' night out, and then they just show 5 and 6 pictures of them having a girls' night out, and that's still storyline writing. So I'm glad that you said that, because we have 2 different backgrounds on writing.
Oh, definitely.
But we both have a passion and an imagination for what we do. Yeah. And so I believe that it's essential. Like, I totally subscribe to Bob Ross's anybody can paint, anybody can write.
That's true. That's true. And it's funny because I forgot that, tell y'all that I also used to draw, and I used to paint, and my drawings would be in like this art contest all the time. So like in high school, so I'm more artistic. You see what I'm saying? So back then, when you were, I say maybe the 80s or the 90s, they didn't realize that people's brains work differently. I'm more artsy type. And, they didn't know until, a few teachers that took the time with me to figure out how I learned, that really made me get confident in that. So that's how it started, I went to college, Clayton State, and I went into computers and stuff. And I was like, why did I do that? My mom was trying to get me to go to the Art Institute, but, I listened to people telling me that you can't make any money with art. So, I started doing other things, and I went to school to be a medical assistant, and I was like, why am I doing all this? Because you listen to other people, you see what I'm saying? So when I finally realized that I need to learn to be who I am and don't worry about what other people think, that's when I got most of my inspiration. So I think when you're writing, you have to be inspired. And you have to write what's true to you and how you feel. Because if you try to write what you think other people want or expect of you, you're going to have blocks. So, I just inspired and just write what I'm inspired about. That's how I do it.
Exactly.
I don't do a storyline in ahead. When I got Jazzy, I liked the way she looked in her box, and she looked really fancy with her gold dress on, and I just went from there. I said, she looked like a mama. So I could relate to her because I'm a mama. And so, yeah, definitely. Yeah, too many naysayers. And you know what's crazy about it? The main ones that you think will judge you or judging you, they're not doing anything. Yeah. So why are you worried about them if they're not doing anything? And then later on, they're like, wow. Then they say they like it after you did it. So that's why true. just flow. Just flow. Don't be true to you and write what you feel is true to you and how you feel.
I
And
agree.
that's how I feel. Like with Jazzy, she's a mom, I'm a mom. So that's why my page say that I write from life experiences, because you know, a lot of the stuff that I write about, if I'm not doing what she's doing in the story, is something that I'm inspired to do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I still got a saxophone that I ain't played in years. She
Mm-hmm.
plays fluently. I'm hoping one day I can play again like how she played. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
I write about what inspires me, you know.
I
And
agree with you. I agree with
and
you about,
you
writing
know,
what inspires us.
yes,
Also, what I'd like for us to kind of, while we're talking about being inspired, if we can kind of like transition into the pros and cons of storyline, because I
yeah,
believe that some people are yay for storylines, and some people are like, I don't really want to go near a storyline because they may be a little bit afraid to. And then if they're, I think that it really depends on what your main purpose is. Are
yeah.
you writing a storyline because you just
I
want to
know,
kind
right?
of get it out? The girl pull that saxophone out. Are you writing a storyline because you just really want to get the story out?
Yeah,
Pour it out of yourself. You want to be able to, just create this art. Or are you writing a storyline because you're looking for a following? Because if you're looking for a
yeah.
following, well, it's a mixture
No,
of both. If you're
mm-mm.
looking for a following, sometimes with storylines, it can take a little bit longer to get a following. I'm not saying all the time. I've seen some people blow up and they're now on 5K, they're doing parties, and they started after me.
Yeah,
I've seen some people who started before me and, their numbers may be lower. I've seen
yeah,
some people where they do storylines and they have private accounts. So they're not looking for a following. They're just wanting to get that art form out and, be
yeah.
able to get the storyline out. So I think that that's one of the things you do have to look at is if, what is my main motive?
Mm-hmm.
Is my motive is just to get following, then you may want to do fashion or do random pics and not really have to
Yeah,
stick to
yeah.
a main doll that you're following throughout your IG posts.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just
Yeah,
wanting to get that story out and you have an attachment to one particular doll or 7 particular dolls, then storyline is for you. It's
yeah.
just something that you may have to really work at. So I didn't really know if you had any pros and cons that you may want to give. And of course,
I agree.
consistency is key. I don't get a chance to be consistent because I have 9 kids.
Yeah.
And I always have a little bit of a twist and turn in my day. So I don't always get a chance to be as consistent as far as posting daily. But the
Mm-hmm.
more you post daily, people are going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to see it. And, you getting involved with different events. That also, like whenever these events come up, a birthday party, a slumber party, a giveaway, that
Yeah,
also helps to, encourage your following game
that's true.
as far as
That's
people
true.
following you and you being able to
Mm-hmm.
network with other people and having your doll to, go to different places, especially during a pandemic when you can't physically go.
I think
So,
that's how we met, isn't it?
mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, it is. So you never know, and we striked up a sisterhood from it. So you don't know
Exactly.
who you can meet from being able,
Yes,
have your dolls attend other soirees and galas and parties outside of
yes,
just the events that your dolls have.
absolutely.
But
I
there are pros and
um
cons.
I don't do it for followers. I do it. I mean, I'm glad that I'm meeting people like you and connecting with people, because when I was going through some trying times with my best friend being sick and stuff, I would still get alerts from Instagram when I wasn't putting anything out, because for 2 years I didn't put anything out. I was still, you know, building my little curvy world, but I wasn't putting any stories out there or any pictures out there because I didn't know what I was going to do with it, really. I mean, it helped me. I made stuff to get my mind off of what things was happening around me. So it was a escape for me from the real world. So
Yeah.
so that's how I did that. So I wasn't looking for any followers or anything like that. I was just building it. And, you know, one day I guess after the pandemic started, I said, I better start putting some stuff out here, you know, because we don't know what's going to happen. And I started feeling compelled to put my pictures out and started putting things out there because I was like, I don't know. If I'm going to go, at least my story going to be out there.
I understand. I
I mean,
understand.
I'm just being honest. I was thinking on those terms. I was like, you know, we don't know how long we're going to be here. We don't know what's going to happen from this or anything like that. So I said, you know, I got this story. I've been procrastinating for years on putting it out there. Let's go ahead and just start taking the pictures. Just put them out there and just see where it goes, you know? So I'm inspired about putting my stuff out there to motivate and inspire other people. That's it. I'm not looking for followers or anything like that. I'm just looking to put my art out there.
There you go.
You know, if you know, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. You're going to be here, but you know, at least I leave some kind of legacy behind if something was to happen to me, because my best friend was only 50 something and she passed away. So, you know, at some point in your life, you're going to start thinking about that kind of stuff. You know, if you're 20 something, you're not thinking like that. But when you're 35 plus, you start thinking like that. You know, well, what am I going to leave? What am I going to leave behind? And it's not just about money. It's about, are you going to be remembered? Or are you going to have something that you left behind that inspire other people? That's why I started putting my stuff out there. You know,
I fully agree. I had a best friend of mine that passed away at 26. So, you know, life and death. And I think especially now with the pandemic, I think that it's become even more of a reality for people as far as just being able to get involved with something that you enjoy and something that's going to, you know, take you away from kind of the hardships of the reality of what we do deal with and make it easier for you and give you hope. Yeah. And I believe that that's part of the reason why we're all here in the doll community, is because we get hope. We get hope and we're able to give hope. And we're able to get ideas and be inspired and get into a craft whenever we have the time to, you know, in order to make something that didn't exist and make it, you know, a tangible product, something that we can take pictures of and say, hey, it's not just look what I did, but, you know, look and see that you can do this too. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy being on here so much.
Yeah, yeah. Because when we buy the dolls, I mean, you buy the same doll, I buy the same doll, but when you get this doll and you personalize this doll, and I mean, I'm doing storylines because, you know, I have so much in me that I want it out there.
That was actually going to be my next question. Why storyline? So yeah.
Because I got so much in me that I wanted to put out there, and I want to motivate people from the storyline, you know. But we get these dolls and they all alike, but it's just so amazing to me personally when I see all the different stories and the different possibilities in the timeline with these same dolls, how people customize them and how they look so different. And it's very inspiring to me, you know, to see that, you know, that people have their different ideas and how they just customize. I think it's a beautiful thing, you know. We should support one another about that, because we're all different. We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds, but yet we all love these dolls. So
I agree. I agree.
And we're making, we create people's storylines. This is, you know, we're creating, we're taking a plastic person and giving them a life. Isn't that cool?
And I'm glad that you brought that word up again. Storyline. So when we think about storyline, where are we getting the ideas from? Now, earlier you had said how you actually take kind of like bits and pieces of your life and you're able to combine it into your dolls daily affairs that we see on My Little Curvy World. And I would say with mine, it's very similar as far as taking little bits and pieces. And then some of it is totally exaggerated. Okay. Tony, who I know that some people have grown to love, and he's one of my favorite characters. Um, he's slightly inspired from my husband, but yet tweets, because my husband comes from a militant background. His dad was in the military, and so he's a lot more stricter than where I grew up, as my mom was a seamstress, and it was she and I, and so I had like a little bit more, you know, of this like artsy lifestyle, I guess. I know that's only for who. And so I took a part of what's in my husband to create Tony, and then I just exaggerated it. And then the same with Raymond. There's this other side of my husband that's very, you know, tender and sweet, and just, you know, we're able to have this like great dialogue and intimacy. And that's what you see with Raymond. And so I took that and you know, kind of just removed all of the strictness that Raymond would have. He has, you know, he's more gentle in how he does it. And so I created Raymond from that. And then Nita and Gloria is the same thing right there. And, you know, we're going to see more of Nita and Gloria's personality come out, but Nita is a lot more gentle than I am. Like she has this, you know, I just want everybody to get along, and I want there to be peace in the house, and I'm like it to a certain extent. But then there's also like that other side of me that's more like structured than where Nita is. And then with Gloria, I feel like, you know, the more that her storyline comes out, we'll be able to see that. So we do take a part of us as storyline creators, and we use our own life. And then there's also a part of us that we create from, you know, I wanted this kind of dad growing up, and so I'm going to create this dad right here, you know. Or I, like myself, I didn't have siblings, so I gave Gloria siblings. I didn't have any. I was the only child. So then you add it in, and then whatever friends and stuff that you've had, or a storyline you may have seen on Maury Povich, and you're like, that would be interesting. And you put that in there, you know. So it doesn't have to be exactly just my life that inspires me. Yeah, real life can be the best inspiration, but it can also be someone else's life that you're able to take and you tweak it a little bit so you don't get sued. You know, and you make this world that comes alive and becomes relatable to other people. Now, because we do live in a politically correct society, we do have to be careful about how we do things. Because you don't want to get sued, and you don't want anybody giving you hate mail or feeling like they were, you know, insulted by what was written, or, you know, whatever you photographed. So you do have to be mindful of that. You know, our art does have to be censored to a certain degree so that it doesn't offend other people.
Absolutely. And what I love about the storylines, as far as Jazzy, like I said, she's my artsy. No, she's my music side of me, and her culture love side of me. I love culture, different cultures. So therefore, that's why I write about her being Creole and stuff, because, you know, I love New Orleans music. I love the jazz and the brass instruments and the string instruments and how they just make them flow. And, you know, she just, you know, that side of me is Jazzy all the way. And she's also very silly like me too. She has my silly side, my silly playful side. And I just, when I write her, it's just totally inspired by that, you know. She, you know, she loves people. She loves getting along with people, and, you know, just having peace, you know. That's how I am. And with Shannon is the younger me. She was she made the decisions I wished I made. I wished I went to Johnson & Wales University and did do the fashion design stuff, but I lacked the confidence, because back then, you know, like I said, people said you can't make money with art. And then I also had some complexes about my weight. I had some complexes about my weight and stuff. And, you know, you didn't see a lot of beautiful, curvaceous queens in the fashion industry, but yet I could draw and make clothes and stuff. So, you know, I had some complexes that I had to get over about myself. And with Shannon, she's like what I would have done if I didn't have those complexes, you know. So she's like the younger me, and what would have been what I would have done if I didn't have those things going on. I've always got along with people. I always wanted to have peace, and you know, I've always been a motivational type person, you know, even during high school, you know, I've always had that, but I didn't know that was a gift. I didn't know anything like that. I've just always been like that. But she's like that side of me. And she was my very first curvy doll. You know, I collected dolls my whole life, but when they got that very first curvy, that just did something to me.
I agree.
It really inspired me. You know, I was like, what? Mattel finally making a curvy doll? I don't care.
We just need them to make clothes now.
Yes, I didn't care. Exactly. And I didn't care that she was white. I didn't care of any of that because, you know, that's never been me. You know, I've never been that way anyway. I just wanted this curvy doll, and I wanted to dress her up and make her look cute. And she was just gonna have my little curvy world, you know.
Yeah.
My curvy safe world where I create and do what I want with her. And you know, my inspiration in the beginning was to make doll clothes for curvies, but you know, like I said, when I had to be a caregiver for a few years of two people in my life that was dying of cancer. So, you know, I didn't do that right away, but that's what I was inspired to do with Shannon. So, but then when I seen Jazzy, I was like, wow.
Changed everything. It changed everything. And that's what happens. That's what happened, you know?
Yeah. I have to keep the storyline with both of them because they both, you know, they're both a part of me, and you know, I have to keep it that way.
That's the thing about it. When we do storylines, and I believe this is true if you do fashion or you do random pictures, but even more so with storylines, that we give a part of ourselves into the creation of our stories, into our characters, into our dolls. They become important to us. They become a part of who we are because we're pouring ourselves into them. Now, when I heard you talk about Shannon, and I can totally relate. I can totally relate because I used to love, and I still do, love Frida Kahlo. That is one of my hands down favorite artists ever. I mean, like, I could talk about her for 2 hours or longer. Hello, mini gypsy doll. I could talk about her forever because Frida, in fact, the one who I call Hollywood, her sister is Frida. That's Raymond's sister, Frida. I was like, I have to give to my girl because she inspired me with art. But I was told not to do art because it's what is it? A starving artist career. Starving artist, you know, you're not going to get paid. You're going to be starving the whole time. You're not
get a job. Get a job.
Yeah. You know, go to college and get a career that's actually going to pay. But then you still have this desire to do art, you know, to do some type of art form. Yeah. And so it's best to, thank you. You know, you always look good, mini gypsy. Every time I see you on your lives. But art is so important. Art is what has kept our cultures, all various cultures, alive and thriving, especially in times of crisis. We turn to art to be able to become our focal point from what reality has. And I believe that's what we offer right now with our doll community, no matter what pictures that you have. Now, when I listen to you talk about Shannon, and she is everything that you would have done had you had the confidence, it sounds like to me that as creators and as readers that have storylines, that we're able to build this bridge where there's a gap between where I'm at right now and then the regrets that I kind of have, and I'm able to take my art form and build this bridge that actually produces healing. So it did heal. Tell me if you agree, because this is just my understanding of it for myself, and then listening to you, and then listening to other storyline creators and they write it. It's just very therapeutic.
It really
So
is very therapeutic. I wasn't aware of my gifts and my talents yet. Before I did Curvy World, but when I went through like a depression before I got my curvy and started my little Curvy World, I used to be into sales, and I was really good at it. I was able to do sales and build a whole sales force and teams and stuff like that. But I always felt like I was supposed to be doing something else. I was always able to inspire them to do things. And I was like, it don't feel right. It don't feel right. I'm supposed to be doing something that will be helping people. And that's when I realized that, I'm supposed to be like a life coach, and life coaching is like my ministry, And when I added my art to it, after I started seeing all you beautiful people that was already doing it, y'all just don't understand how much that inspires so many people. You just putting pictures up there and don't understand. I mean, I'm sure some of y'all understanding that now, but I was stuck in my life. I felt stuck. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I mean, money isn't everything. You selling stuff and you making money and commissions, but I wasn't happy. I was not happy. My husband knew I wasn't happy, and but I just couldn't put my finger on it. And it was because I had all them beautiful dolls in a big old tote, hidden in a closet, scared of what people were gonna say about them. But I loved having my dolls. I've been collecting my dolls all my teenage life. So I was like, when I started seeing people making stuff for the dolls, I found Toya with my Froggy stuff, how she was creating rooms and stuff for the dolls, and because I wanted to put them on display, but I didn't want to just put them on a shelf or anything like that. Yeah. I grew up seeing people put like Cabbage Patch dolls or those and it kind of looked creepy to me. I mean, some people might like that. I just didn't. I wanted to make the dolls look realistic, like they were doing something, because dolls kind of remind me of people, and I've always loved people.
Yes.
I always loved people. I love, always been, even though I was kind of shy because I had the complexes, I've always loved to socialize and be around people. That's why I love being in band, because I've always had this group of people that I, hung around, that, and we always seem to, be able to inspire each other. And band is kind of, I mean, that kind of remind me of how we doing now, We all got this common thing that we're doing, and, it reminds me of this now. So it's like, I feel like I got my joy back, like I'm a kid again,
There you go. And when you brought up my Froggy stuff, I mean,
she is
huge
amazing.
Shout out to her and, her family, because, by them really setting the way as far as doing, and people have been doing dioramas, so I'm not going to make it seem like, oh my gosh, she was the very, very first one. But the way that she presented it and the way that she was able to do it step by step. Once again, I'm going to bring up his name. I felt that Bob Ross, like anybody can do this diorama. And so it was inspirational, not just to me, but to my daughters, because that's really who got me involved into this again. I kept some of my Barbies, the other ones, like I told y'all before, sadly were eaten by mice and destroyed. And I'm still hurt about that because I kept them the whole time for them. But nonetheless, when we had really started getting into the Barbie, just playtime and everything, we were watching my Froggy stuff to be inspired. So huge shout out to her and her family and all the efforts to make all of our dreams come true. Another point that I would like for us to look at,
I want to go back right quick and do say that my husband does inspire me with Juicy a little bit. He's not as Juicy
Juicy.
he has a confidence about him. He's very confident. My husband is not confident like Juicy, but he says some of the things that Juicy say. So he does inspire his storyline. If I guess the only thing that's different between the two of them is my husband is not as confident as
Well,
Juicy.
maybe it's not like a confidence. I think with Juicy, and I haven't met your husband, but I know with Juicy, he's just very bold. So maybe like it's not like the confidence as much as like the boldness, because Juicy is just like bold and very direct. And yet, he's still kind of like, he keeps it in a respectful way. He doesn't get all Tony-ish, because, Tony has like no filter. But I think that he and Tony would be real good friends.
They would, definitely.
But yeah, Juicy's just very bold. He's like the calmer side of what Tony is. So it was really enjoyable to see how our storylines were similar in that, as far as like with their personality. But I think he's just, it's just like a difference in the boldness that's there,
Yeah.
So yeah. One of the things
to make sure I said that before we
most definitely,
because I wanted you guys to know that it is inspired by my husband as well.
There you go. So that means that he must get hungry like Juicy.
Oh, yeah.
Juicy gets hungry. All bets are off.
Yes, he's like that in that regard, definitely.
Oh goodness. Okay, now when we talk about having multiple characters, I believe that sometimes when it comes to storyline writing, for some people they may be a little bit hesitant to do it because if they have too many characters. I love how our husbands inspire us too.
I love how they inspire us
stories. I want to give out a huge shout out to Toy Stories because, and I told my husband about this. Whenever she's doing any of her storylines, she always says, she's like, I'm going to have my husband check it. And I just love how they have this teamwork thing going on. I mean, like, and shout out to my husband because he's my lights today. And he put up my backdrop. So shout out to him. All right. Yeah, I don't want to forget that. Yeah, but I love the teamwork that they have. And it's an awesome thing to be able to have our husbands inspire us for the good things and the bad things.
Absolutely.
Because it becomes relatable and it helps us be able to have, a dialogue communication with them. And it's something that they're able to get involved in to some degree as well. So I think that's the awesome thing. Whenever we get involved in it, whoever we have as a spouse or partner, they're able to get involved with it too. There's someone else, Sassy, she and her boyfriend do things with it as well. And I'm like, that's just so awesome. Whenever you see couples and partners be able to do that, I think it's an awesome thing. So our art inspires the other person that we're with. Thank you. My husband put a little smiley face up. I love you too.
Aww,
so I think that it's just an awesome thing whenever we're able to work together. So that's another point to put on there, regardless of how you're doing your page. Get your partner involved with you because it's something that you guys are able to grow in together.
I'm glad you said that.
Not to.
So yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I can go ahead and say this. My husband he wrote the jingle to My Little Curvy World. He wrote that. And so he does music and he does stuff like that. So he came up with the music and you're gonna be hearing that sometime this year. I did make the jingle, but I'm trying to figure out like I think I'm gonna have like the jingle with some pictures with all the different dolls and stuff, but I kind of wanted to introduce some more dolls to the storyline before I did it. So it could be a world.
I got you. So and see, that gets us right to our next point. Which is like, should I do my storyline with one doll as the main doll, or should I have multiple dolls? And how many multiple dolls should I have? And I believe that's like a confusion for people because we do see so many beautiful dolls, and we purchase them, and then we want them in our stories. And then it can get really jumbled because now it's like, I can't figure out who's who and my readers can't figure out who's who. And and then you kind of give up on your storyline.
Never give up
It can
on
be
your
really
story.
confusing. So my greatest thing, and then you see some people who may have the one doll,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, well, my doll's sipping tea today outside because it's such beautiful weather. Well, my doll's going out for a walk. Well, Sandy's doing this and Sandy's doing. And then after a while, they kind of like, well, where do I go with Sandy? Is Sandy going to hook up with somebody? Does Sandy have girls' nights out? Do I need to, if she's having girls' nights out, do I need to introduce the friends Michelle and Janet and Susie? Do I have to give them a storyline, or are they just there for that one day? That's something that I think that people have to decide on. How many do you want to have? And then when you decide on how many are you going to have, you have to be able to not confuse yourself or your readers. You don't want to have too many. Like, you don't want to have a storyline for 30 of your dogs.
You should not have too many storylines as far as personalizing things. Like, have a support. Have your 1 or 2 dolls talk about their family and their life and have their support. Just like in a movie. The movie only have 1 star or a couple of stars, right? Well, everybody else is the supporting cast in the movies, right? So I kind of stick to that kind of regard because, you know, right? I mean, you only have 1 or 2 stars in a movie. I kind of stick to that regard because, you know, you will get stuck and you will get too involved in trying to do too much, and you will make it not be fun anymore.
That's true. That's Great Plastic Adventures that already did that. Yeah.
She say she confused.
Yeah, but you know, you can always, and that's the beautiful thing about this being your page. You can always restart. You know, that doesn't mean you gotta force your page, but you just look at your dogs and be like, okay, these are the main 3 that I want to focus on. And then these will be their friends, and they'll pop in and out. So you can always just redo the storyline as you want. Now, for myself, I really think of mine more, and I love that you brought up the movie aspect. Yeah. I love it. I think of mine more of like a soap opera. I don't know how many people watch Young and the Restless. And I don't want to get sued, but I did. I watched Young and the Restless. I'm popping in that name. But there was Victor Newman, right? So you had Victor Newman, and then he had his wife, Nikki, and then you have the daughter, I can't think of her name, Vicky, and then you had the son, Nick, right? So I'm just dealing with those 4 right there.
Barbie girl?
And then, hi, Barbie girl. Then you see that, you know, Nikki, or Vicky and Victor done broke up. Then she gets with Jack. And Jack had an ex-wife. But Jack works with the company for Newman. You know what I mean? So they're all connected. Yeah. And then, you know, you see the daughter, Vicky, have her life. You see their son, Nick, have his life. And so it started off with this one family and their business. But yet they started having all these other interactions with other people. And so that's kind of like how I think of with mine, as far as it being like the soap opera. So you have your core family, but then you're going to see those individuals branch off into their own lives. But even with that, I still have to be cautious of not putting so many people in there, as you know, as far or so many other doll characters, and giving them a main script, because some of them, just like you said, are the supporting cast. Some of them are only going to be there when there's a party, or some of them are going to be there if there's you know, just like how we had our Christmas event. You know, if there's a Christmas event or this and that. So then you see faces. Oh, I haven't seen that one before. I didn't know you had that doll. That's a pretty doll. Yeah, you're going to see that then. But as far as me being like, oh, I'm going to give this person or this doll a main role. No, because then I'm going to, you know, have too many. You got to make a whole other life. On. Yeah. So I try to just keep it connected. So I started off with Nita and Tony. Then we kind of branched off into their kids. And then we don't really see a whole lot of Prudence life right now, but we do see more of Penelope. And then we see that Gloria came in because she's the therapist.
That's right.
And
That's
Raymond.
how
So
I
that's their
segue.
therapist. So that
Yeah.
becomes the connection right there. And
Yeah.
then, she has her daughter, Martina, who's getting a little bit more interaction and play.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that connection. So I try my best to keep a connection there. And
Yes.
even, whoever else comes involved, I try to keep if they're going to have a storyline, make sure that they're connected somehow all the way back to Nita and Tony.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's trace right back to my core.
Yeah, keep your core. That's how I feel. Like with Shannon, I did not want to totally leave Shannon because she was like the foundation. So I had to figure out how I was going to bring them together because, like you said, it's best if you have more than one storyline to have them connected somehow. And it's just beautiful how we were able to. I was inspired because I didn't know how I was going to do it. That's why I say you have to keep an inspiration there,
You
because
do.
that's your party made it perfect way to finally get them together and have them interact together. Finally, you guys seen pictures of Shannon and everything, but I really didn't talk much about Shannon, but I wanted the foundation to be Jazzy and Juicy and their families, but was
Yes.
able to finally put them together. It felt so complete, like it was meant to be.
Yes. Yes. And that goes all the way back. And thank you everyone who's been joining. I see you guys joining
Thank
in. We want to thank you
you.
guys for just sitting here and
Thank
listening
you
to
for the
us, or
love.
driving, or being in the kitchen, cooking, whatever you're doing. Thank you for listening.
I
But
hope you're
we're most
learning a
hoping this
lot.
is helping you guys. Exactly.
Yeah.
That goes all the way back to attending events.
Mm-hmm.
Attending
Yes.
events, networking,
Yes.
because not only is it going to be resourceful to you, as far as, like I said, we met through events, and now
Yes.
we have our sisterhood and we're doing this together.
Yes. Yes.
And it will also allow your storyline to move. So in your situation,
Absolutely.
you're saying I had Shannon, I didn't really know how I was going to put her in there where it would be like a smooth transition. And then that Christmas party
Yes.
came up and it was like, hey, Jazzy needed someone that was a seamstress, and she was right there. And so now you're able to do what you need to do, with her storyline. And that's
Yes.
been the same
Yes.
with me, where there's going to be times where I'm kind of like stuck, or I want to put a doll into my storyline, but I really don't know how. And then an event comes up and it's like, oh, okay, I can throw them in there right here. So that's something that we have to also keep our eyes peeled for. There's always events.
Yes.
How can that fit into the storyline?
And it's funny that you said that. And I'm so grateful that I was finally putting stuff out. Like my first pictures in 2020 was Juicy's mom's birthday party at Winds and Horns. I didn't make a dress or anything like that, but I did make Juicy cummerbund and his tie to match Jazzy from another doll like Jazzy's dress. I got like 3 of them. And when you're doing events, it kind of make you, not only that you meet new people, it helps you grow and it helps you realize you have other talents that you didn't understand that you had. Like, I had the drawing and design part down as far as like designing clothes, but I didn't get good with my sewing machine till last year when I started making dresses for Jazzy to go to the weddings. And it allowed me to tap into another side that I didn't. To be honest with you, I was intimidated by that sewing machine. It was because of making masks that made me start learning how to use the sewing machine. Really,
I'm going to tell you something right now. Today, okay, now I've done sewing on and off. My mother was going to teach me, but she was like, well, you can at least do alterations while you're in college and make some money. But at the time, I'll be very honest with you, from the customers that she had, because she was a designer and a seamstress, and she had fashion shows. So you get very particular people, and get some people who don't want to pay and stuff. Hello, how are you? So I didn't want to deal with people. And I told her, I was like, I don't want to deal with people. Now I did some accessories for her, sew on buttons, iron, find this, find that, did her bookkeeping, did all this other stuff. Fast forward in time, and and I used to make my own doll clothes. All my Barbies, I used to do her clothes, and she would do some for me.
So you did more than me.
So I dabbled in there already. I dabbled in there, but I still really never did anything serious. But I've been watching a lot of different videos. I watched someone do a video on how to make a doll purse, and today I actually made my first purse. Yes. This was all me today. This morning, I was like, I pulled out that sewing machine. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And it was from watching doll videos. I was like, now if they can do this, I can do it. A good job. So my husband, my father-in-law passed away, and so this is actually his leather jacket that he had.
I'm looking at all the details on that.
I pieced it together. My husband said I could have it. I was like, thank you, because I knew it meant a whole lot to him. And so I literally had to piece all this together. And then the suede right here comes from my mother. This was suede that she had from Detroit that she's just been holding on to, and she'll use a little bit.
Girl, look at all the memories you got in that bag. That's so memory bag.
Today, I was like, I'm just gonna let God guide me on how to do it. And then the bottom part right here was actually from a Barbie box. Yes, to give it like that firmness. Yes, thank you.
I know.
Thank you. I woke up early. I was like, I'm going to do this today. I want a new purse. I've seen plenty of these videos. If you can make a doll purse for a Barbie, I can make a doll purse for myself. So I thank you guys for inspiring me. Because every time I see you guys making shoes or making clothes or lingerie, I'm like, I can do that either for one of my dolls over here or for myself. So that did. It inspired me. And I got up early and I was like, I'm going to make this work. So I believe that no matter how we do what we do on IG, regardless if it's fashion or if it's with the storylines or random photos, we're inspiring. We're encouraging people to do what they can do. So that's like the whole point of what you're doing is to inspire and encourage. It really it works. I made a whole purse today.
Yes, you made your own purse, and it looks so good, and it has a lot of memories. I love that. I love that.
It does.
And you know, that's why I say it helps you grow. I heard Les Brown say that. He's a motivational speaker.
Yes.
He said the best way to grow is grow through projects. You grow through projects. Well, every time you're building a doll room, that's a project. Hello. So you're building, when you're building, you're growing from that. She manifested that, didn't she, girl?
Yes.
Manifested that. And, you grow from projects. So what I'm noticing is, you know, I don't mean to sound spiritual, but hey, it is spiritual. But the more I make stuff, the more I watch how I took something here and put it there, and then it's here where everybody can see, the more I can see how I can craft things positively to happen in my own life, you know. So it inspires me to look into more possibilities. Well, if I can create this here in my little curvy world, then what can I create in my own curvy world? You know what I'm saying? Hello. So it helps you grow in that aspect, because to tell y'all the truth, you know, even though I was a caregiver and everything, I was scared to death to do any lives. You know, I was kind of, like I said, I still had those complexes about myself, you know. And I'm like, you know, I like how Toya makes these videos, but, you know, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. What would I say? What would I do? And, you know, it helped me grow. And I say, well, I'm just going to talk about what inspires me. You know, I'm going to write about what inspires me. You know,
there you go.
And if someone wants to follow me and read the stories, I love it. I love it. And if they don't want to follow me, but they just get something from it, that's okay. That's okay. Because that, you know, like I said, it's not about me trying to get followers or anything. It's about who is inspired. Maybe they grow from something I've said or something I did, you know.
Mhm.
That's all I'm concerned about, you know, and I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to get it out there in
I don't even want to tell you about the first time I ever saw an IG
she
live.
deserved her story to be out there.
There you go. There you go.
She's amazing.
My husband happened to go on IG live, and when he pressed the live button, and it wasn't even for him to be on live, it was just him like tapping on to someone else's live.
Mm-hmm.
I freaked out. It was my first time to see someone. I was like, oh my God, turn it off. They see us. They see us. So yeah, I mean, like, I wasn't even on the live. It was just us watching them do the live, and I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, we didn't have that kind of technology.
Yeah. But
it was completely new to me.
Grown from there.
I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is like government stuff. But now I got more comfortable. I got more comfortable with it. But it took a while. It took a while, you know. So maybe, you know, while you're building your storyline, going on live may be a process for you, you know, and that's okay. You know, but just really be patient with yourself as you do it. Because the more that you do it, you'll realize you're like, I'm not really doing a live for me. I'm doing it more so for her. And then it becomes me doing it for her to, you know, me showing you the crafts that I did or the unboxing or this and that. I mean, like my first unboxing, you didn't even see me on the screen because I was just very nervous about presenting myself. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Wasn't that like a year ago?
It's almost a year.
That's what I'm saying. Look how much you've grown in 1 year, and look how much I've grown in 1 year. Because, like I said, I was like, I'm not supposed to be doing no lives now. I'll create a video and then put it on there. You know, I'll put it on there later. But, you know, I procrastinated a long time as far as putting my stuff out there and stuff. I don't know why. It's just so silly. You know, when you think about it now, you're like, what was I waiting for? You know?
It's a process, though.
Yeah.
It's a process. You know, all kinds of different breads bake different. You know, if you put raisins into a bread, it's going to have a different amount of time it's going to bake compared to, you know, yeast rolls. So we're all different. And we look back, we're like, why didn't I? But it was something lesson-wise that we had to pick up, even if it's just to encourage someone else, you know, hey, go forth with it. But you know, it
wasn't about me anymore when this pandemic came. It was like, man, let me get this stuff out here, you know, get these things going. Because I felt so selfish. I was like, man, let me just go in there and I've got all this stuff in boxes that I packed. And I said, I need to just go ahead and start, you know, posting some pictures and stuff, because I started thinking about, you know, the hell that I've been through in my past. And I was like, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to go through some hell this year if they don't hurry up and come up with a solution to this thing. So let me go ahead and do this and try to inspire people and try to get their mind off of what's going on. Because, you know, this helps. It really does. People don't understand how much it really does help. And, you know, your energy goes into your pictures. I don't know if people understand that. But, you know, that's why, you know, as much as I love to see a lot of the different pictures and stuff, people don't understand your energy does go into your work, you know. So that's why I try to make my energy to stay positive as much as I can, because, you know, if someone is having a bad day, like I was going through when my friend was on hospice, they'll have something that's going to get their mind off of what's going on, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And, you know, that's how I really feel, you know? It's not something that I just feel that I just talk about. It's something, I live it. That's how I definitely feel, you know? That's how I feel when I go out to the store. You know, I try to be nice to people, because you never know what kind of hell that person's going through at home.
That's true.
You know,
That's
so
very,
that
very true.
your energy goes through your pictures, show your energy. You know, people
And I
can
actually
sense
just,
it.
I have one thing to add when you do take pictures. This is actually my last point, but when you said pictures, I believe one of the things that was brought to my attention was just making sure that your pictures coordinate with your storyline. So one of the things that was brought to my attention was just as far as someone had said something to me about like how the last one that I did with the teenagers, well, not teenagers, they're young adults, and they're talking, and they were saying how detailed it was, like with the hands, and it looked like they were actually talking and high-fiving.
Yeah.
And I've seen other people's stuff, I mean, like, I've seen
Hey,
multiple
Barbie
people with
Pink, how
theirs.
you doing?
Yes, hi, Barbie Paint. Yes, I do. I wish everyone did have that kind of empathy and compassion. But we're able to feel it in this
Well, it
Dow
came
community, and
from,
that's the beautiful thing.
and it came from the hell that we went through.
Yeah.
Well, that I went through. She got 9 kids, so she have that compassion because she got her kids and stuff. I guess it just depends on what you went through in your life. You see what I'm saying? I don't take
Oh, I
life for
went through
granted.
some stuff. Yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
beyond with the kids have probably, there's times when I'm like, I'm really a nice person. I wish that y'all would let me show you.
Yes,
I think I've had more compassion and stuff in the other areas. My kids.
Yes.
Wow,
So you want to
anybody
make
have
me
kids, you would
militant all the
know. Your
time.
kids will take you there. The idea of how they're going to be is way different than how they are. You're like, God, but you know that if you keep on putting the time and the energy, and that's a whole nother subject, but get the time and energy and training, it's going to happen. It's going to all sink in. But I'm like, I want to be compassionate. I want to be empathetic. Don't you see?
Yes,
Why don't you let me
exactly.
do that? But going back to
with
the
me
pictures.
being married 19 years too, I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. I've lived the vows, the sickness and the health. I've been through that. With my husband, having his mental illness. So it makes the things that you go through. It makes you either bitter or better. I choose to be better.
I agree.
So that's where my empathy comes from.
I agree. And I believe that almost any of us that's a part of the dog community, regardless if we're male or female, we've all experienced some type of hurt and pain growing up.
Yeah.
Even if it's just as simple as being an overly nice person and having people walk over you. Or, when we talk about, being creative, a lot of us are creative in so many different areas. Not just with writing, not just with drawing, but and then you have people who will use you for your talent and your gifts, and that can be draining, or people have been abused, and so they're like, this is where I come to where I don't have to be, remembering what that was like. So I believe that for any of us who are part of this, we've walked through something or some things in our life that has changed us, and we were like, I don't want to become that bitter person. I don't want to be a suicidal person. I don't want to be depressed. So the way that I can kind of keep myself motivated is to do what I'm doing right here. I'm not saying for everyone, but I believe that for a lot of us that are here, we've experienced something that has made us say, I'm not going to give up. And this is me not giving up, me putting my art out there and being able to have other people be inspired. And so, if regardless if you're doing storyline or not, I just believe that that's true. But my last point is just about pictures. Just making sure that when we do our pictures, that we can coordinate it with our storyline. So it's kind of hard if you have a picture of Michael, and Michael's just kind of like sitting there with a soda, but then on your storyline part, you're saying how Sandy is coming to meet Michael, and Sandy showed up, and they had, and you have like this full dialogue of what they did, but yet we don't see Sandy, or there's not like a follow-up picture. So that can kind of change things as far as people being able to follow along too, because they can be like, where's Sandy? I didn't see Sandy. The next picture could be different. So making sure that when you do your pictures, that the people that you're talking about in your storyline, we can actually see that in a picture.
Absolutely.
And if, and then sometimes, it can be kind of nerve-wracking, or some people may be nervous about posing them, but just do it. Just try it. Just see what you can do, especially if you haven't made the move.
Have fun.
Just try it. Exactly. Have fun with it. And one of the things that I learned about with storylines, I can't remember whose video I saw, and I really wish I did, because I would love to give credit to the person. I saw it on YouTube, and they were talking about how to do your storyline with your Barbie. And he said exaggerate it. So the very first time that I did a post, and Nita was about to go to her to one of the events, and she was telling Tony about it, and she was like, oh my God, right? So her hands are all out. And now if I would have just been like right here, like, oh God, I'm late. But instead I had to do this so you could really see, like, so whenever I write down there that Nita says, like, Tony, oh my God, we're supposed to go to this swimsuit party, you would be able to really feel it. Like, oh, wow. So whatever we do with our dolls, exaggerate it and make the pictures coordinate with your storyline.
Absolutely.
So you can't say, like, Tony was working all day and he's, welding, and then my husband's a welder. He's welding and he's doing this, but yet I have a picture of Tony and he's laying down in the bed. Now, unless I say at the bottom of that storyline, he's exhausted, so he, just fell out on the bed and he's knocked out and sleep. If I don't say that, and I just said he had a full day at work welding, it's not going to coordinate. So try to make your pictures coordinate with your dialogue, and whoever it is that you're talking about in the dialogue, have them in the picture as well.
Now, some people make pictures first and then add a dialogue. Me personally, I don't do that. I think of something.
I do both.
I think of something. Yeah, every now and then I do. I think of something. If it makes me laugh, then I go ahead and take the pictures of them doing that scenario, and then I put the story with it. I think every now and then I do like what you said, because like the Thanksgiving thing, I didn't know. I woke up that morning not planning on putting any pictures of them doing anything for Thanksgiving, but I just kept going in a flow. I call it a flow, where you're just flowing with it, just flowing and see where it goes. And that's kind of how I do it. Like, I just, I have a main idea of what they're going to do, but then, I just go with the flow and just let the dialogue just go, like, I don't know the funny puns and her necklace is beautiful. The funny puns of Juicy with his silly stuff that he said, and you remember when Jazzy said, I never know what's gonna come out of your mouth. He said, well, it's more where that came from. That kind of thing. I can't think of that ahead of time. It's just like, I took the pictures and then I start doing the dialogue, and then I just add as it flows to me, sort of like I'm watching a story in my head, and I'm just putting it down as I go,
So you're really just letting the character of your doll speak. You're giving them a voice. And I believe that the more that we do this, and I'm just writing my own notes, but the more that we do this, we do allow our dolls to have their own voice, because we're naming them already.
They have to have their own voice.
Saying they have this personality, and then the more that you're interacting, taking photos, by the time that you're ready to dialogue, you're starting to hear them speak. This is what he would say. And then you're writing it down, and this is what she would say. So you're literally learning the personality of your doll to speak. So it's always good. I like that you brought that up. It's always good. Yes. Sometimes the doll writes the story. You're so
weird. Somebody be like, I almost writing a story. They ain't know nothing about this. They be like, they weird. What they talking about? That's crazy. But that's exactly how it is. Is like, like in my mind, I already know Jazzy's relationship with her husband. You know, they've been together for 12 years. So, you know, there's no, you know how when you first get married, you're scared to say certain things because you're scared about what the other person gonna think. They ain't got none of that no more. They've been together for years. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
if he think it, he gonna say it. You know?
That's so true. That is so true. That's no problem. That's okay.
You think he gonna say it, you know?
She had to rejoin.
Yeah,
I know about battery life. Battery life will get you. I probably need to charge mine. Now
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's so very interesting to me. I'm just going to plug mine up while I'm talking.
Okay.
We talk about giving your characters a voice. I don't know how many people saw the movie, The Man Who Invented Christmas. Did you see that one?
Man, no, I haven't seen that one.
It's about is it Charles Dickinson, I want to say, because he wrote the Christmas story about Scrooge.
Yeah, that's right.
So they did a few years ago. We watched it with the children on demand, and a few years ago they made a movie about his process in writing it and how he had like this deadline. He didn't think he was going to make it, and at first when he started off writing the story, you know, it came from, I think, like him listening to his children interact. And I can't remember, I think they were interacting with the nanny, and then he heard it, and then he wrote it down. And then he started getting this story, the Christmas story, or Christmas Carol that we know.
Wow.
But in the midst of that, he got to a point where he had to deal with his own childhood issues. Like he was an orphan, and he had to work in a labor union, and he really had to grow up early. And it started to kind of like block him from writing. But then his characters started like coming up to him like ghosts, and they started speaking to him like the story. This is what, you know, I wouldn't say this, I wouldn't say that, this is what I would say here. And he was like, leave me alone. And I believe to a certain degree that's what our characters will do, regardless if you're writing a book and you know, if you're you know, writing a storyline for the dolls. I've got books somewhere over here. This one right here has plays in it. And this is one of the ones that I had wrote. The Devil Has Ears.
Yeah.
This one right here. Yeah. Well, there was certain storylines in here where I would go to sleep and I'm hearing the characters speak to me. This is what I would say. This is what I would say right here. So it's the same thing. You're writing a book, you're doing a storyline with your Barbies. They're going to start talking to you as you're doing it, and they're going to say, I wouldn't say that. This is what I would say right here. Or you know, you're just walking along and you're listening to them. So you want to leave room. Don't be so controlling. You want to leave room to hear what they naturally would say right. Yeah, that's what makes it relatable. So when I read and I see what Jazzy said or Juicy said, I'm like, it's so believable because you left that room for them to talk and for them to speak.
Because I mean, I literally would be writing is something, and something he would say would just come up, and I just start laughing like, oh my God. And then at some point I'd be like, I can't believe he said this. But I said it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's what makes each character different. And we're talking about storyline anyway, so this fits right in. When you give your character space to speak, that's what will make, like my Tony is different than my Raymond. So unless I told you that that's based off of the same man in my life, you'd probably be like, oh, okay, that's two different characters. Yeah. But it's really based off of one person. So I let each one of them speak, and one has an accent and the other one doesn't. I let them speak so that who they are as individuals can shine. Yeah. And I believe that's what you have to do, is just kind of listen, you know, and it's not going to happen the very first post or the third post or even the 20th post. It's like the more that you interact with them, and sometimes I don't even let Gloria like lay down at night in the same bed with me. So the more that you spend time with them and really just, you know. Yes. It's true though. You'll start hearing what they want to say, and then they'll become individuals. So when you make that character and you're writing out what they say, you'll hear them. And then not everybody's just monolithic. You know, it's not just like this monotone with like
Yes,
7
you are
different
director.
characters and they all sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
You are a
It's
director
true.
to your own story.
Yes, it's true because, like Jazzy wouldn't say what Shannon Elizabeth would say per se, but then I made them both. So it's just exactly what you're saying. Cause that's why sometimes I don't write anything right away because, it's a flow thing. It's a flow thing, I really feel like I have to be inspired. Now, when I get like that, sometimes I just, would take a picture of them doing something. They're not talking, because I want to keep putting something out there for you guys, to have to enjoy. But it's definitely inspired. It's inspired because, some of the things I
Yeah.
have them both say and do, it's like I would go back and read it myself and be like, wow, you know. But once you hit send and it's out there, hey, it's out there now.
And the thing is, you have to be able to give them their voice so that they're individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also, to a certain degree, almost have to like separate yourself.
You have to separate
from
yourself.
your character, because like with Nita, when Tony pulled out the gun, I'm like, I'm out of there. I'm out of it. Like I would pack up. It's a done situation. We'll see the therapist, and that's like probably the only time that we'll be seeing each other, because I'm not gonna be in a house where it's that volatile, But yet, on the other hand, we got Nita, and she's like, I've been dealing with this for years. We've been married this whole time. He's the love of her life. I understand that he's going, that he may be dealing with some PTSD, and I believe that she has more of a grounded relationship with him than other people do, because she understands his background, so she tolerates it more. But like for myself, I'm like, I wouldn't have dealt with that. So it would have been really easy for me to just be like, she packed up and left, and and they're just having therapy sessions, and that's about the only time they see each other. But I had to remove myself, because Nita is a part of me, but she's not me. So her character is going to be different, and I have to allow her to be different. And that's what I think you have to, whenever, especially if you have multiple characters, allow your different dolls to have their own character. They may not do what you do. They may not have the same reaction that you would have to something. And that's okay, because then it becomes, again, more relatable to other people's situations. I don't know if someone's going through something like that. Someone may be going through that, and they may have decided to stay until things got better, and they may understand how their spouse is. And they may know, hey, he's not really going to shoot, but at the same hand, he needs to get his temper together.
Yes,
that becomes relatable to them,
And that's why I say it comes from inspiration, because, I'm a spiritual person, and I feel like, if it came up, and if it bubbled up in me to write it, then maybe somebody was supposed to read that is struggling with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. Someone may need to read that day. They may be having some problems with their marriage, or having some problems with the relationship, or how they relate to themselves. Like, Jazzy and Shannon, even though they both curvy and beautiful, I haven't wrote much about that yet, but y'all did read how Shannon did go through that complex in her life when she was used to be a pageant queen, and then going through the time where she picked up a lot of weight and got ridiculed and stuff. Who knows? Somebody going through that. Somebody went through that. I had an 11-year-old girl told me she was bullied because she was, big, and she wanted to be a cheerleader, and she's a cheerleader. So, you never know who may be struggling with that day. Now, when I wrote that story with Jazzy and Shannon, even though I already knew Shannon's story, I didn't know how I was going to write it like that day. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say it is definitely by inspiration how I wrote the story, and how I was able to get them to dialogue and have common grounds as far as that, because Jazzy has her complexes too. Jazzy grew up poor. Jazzy grew up with her father being in the Navy, and he wasn't there when she was little. So it was just her mom and her grandmother that was raising her, of course, with the aunts and stuff that helped a little bit too in the church. So, you know, she didn't know what it was like to be a beauty queen or to, you know, grow up and have nice dresses and nice gowns and stuff. So, you know, they both have their little complexes and stuff. And, you know, Jazzy always, you know, she's a beautiful girl, but you know how people bully you and pick on you because you're beautiful, but you don't see yourself in that way when you're going through it as a teenager. You know, you're thinking, why they treat me like this, you know? So she have her complexes too. So, you know, each one of them have something that they had to go through that someone, when I write the story out, can relate to that and can help them. You know what I'm saying?
I fully agree. I'm glad that you brought that up because I got 2 points. One, and I know that we are getting kind of close in time, but this has been so enjoyable.
I know.
One thing I do want to bring up, when you talk about being relatable and being able to put a message out that, you know, that helps other people, that was part of the reason why I had brought in the Gloria, the therapist, because initially I never did know that I didn't even know that I was going to have characters like with Nita and Tony. Yes. But then the therapy came in because that's my background, being in psychology. Absolutely. And into counseling. I went into grad school for counseling. I didn't bring that part up, but I went to grad school for counseling. So that's part of my own personal background that I was like, hey, let me put that in there, because there's so many people who feel that they don't want to go to therapy because it's a stigma. It's still to this day a stigma attached to therapy. But therapy is there to help us, to enrich our lives. Even if your life is going great, it's still good to sometimes sit down and talk to somebody who's a stranger to you, who's going to be able to give you advice and wisdom that's going to encourage your next step in the right direction, a positive direction. So there's nothing wrong with therapy. And I felt that putting that on my IG timeline, in my plot, would be able to encourage someone else to know that if you have to go to individual sessions or marriage sessions or whatever the case is, it's therapeutic. There's plenty of therapists out there. So if you go to one and it doesn't work for you, you can find another one. But don't allow yourself to feel stigmatized because you do. Because it's about your health. It's about your mental health. It's about you being able to grow spiritually, mentally, in all different facets and dimensions of yourself. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. And you need to take ownership of it and take care of yourself. That's what's important. It's better to take care of yourself than to be walking around unhealthy because you're afraid of what other people think. You don't have to tell people you go to therapy. But if you do and they have a problem with it, that becomes their problem, not yours. Absolutely. So that's one thing I have to say. Dr. Rashida, all right.
Right.
But that's one thing I do
your purpose is helping others now, though.
Yes. And it is. It's helping me. And I'm glad that you brought up about complexes, because you brought up how Shannon has her complexes and Jazzy has her complexes. And I'm sure that the more that we read into what you post with your storyline, we're going to see that Juicy has a complex and this and that. And right now, my children are learning about personification. My older boys are. They're doing a language arts study about personification, taking an inanimate object and giving it personality. You know, like the sky weeped. Sky can't really weep, but yet it gives it a human quality. And that's really what we're doing when we give these dolls these complexes and these insecurities and these flaws. We're building a humanness with it. So that would be one of my other points that add on with what you're talking about with storyline. When you create these characters, hi 1-6, and Shaded, I like it. How are you? But when we build these characters, make sure to add in, and you don't have to do it like on the first post, because we're not going to know that. You know what I mean? Like if you go on a date, you're not going to know that person has an insecurity until like, sometimes when you get married and it's like, okay, I deal with this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You didn't know it, but I have this going on. So it may not come out like on the first
It
post.
reminds me of that facts of life. I used to be a little couch potato when I was little. You know, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have the
Yeah,
facts of life.
it's true. It is so true. It is so true. So you need the good, you need the bad, you need the flaws. And that's what's going to make
Yeah,
your character more tangible, more realistic, and really help your storyline have
hmm,
strength.
absolutely. Yeah, we all have something.
We do. We do.
And that's why I say, it's good to still have, you have your main characters, but you also have your support. Like
Yes,
I want to talk about like Millie here. She has her complexes too. I talked about a little bit of that as well, and how her
I
and
remember.
Jazzy have a big age gap. How many people grew up with their sister in a big age gap? Big age gap. Me.
Mhm.
It's a big age gap between me and my sister. So that's why I say they all have some kind of aspect of what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? So that might help
Yeah.
to mend some relationships there as far as your sister, or your brother, you know. And, with her being a baby, she was spoiled because she had mommy and dad. Like me, I had mommy and dad, so I was spoiled. I can admit that now. I'm still spoiled. But and
I have to admit, I mean,
sometimes
like
the
I try to act
baby,
like I'm not, but then when I do these IG lives and I'm talking about the Barbies that I had, or my mom
yes,
bought this, and my aunt bought this, and I'm like, I may
yeah,
be a
I
little
was
spoiled. I thought I was
spoiled.
the only child. I was the only
Yeah.
child.
And see my my sister in the middle was 6 years older than me, and then the sister above her was 6 years older than her. So we got a 12-year
Oh
difference
wow!
with them. So, I was spoiled, and because I was spoiled, I had things handed to me and didn't really understand about how, besides my grade, I didn't understand how to execute what I've learned and become from a child to a woman till like right before I got married. And then I still had to grow from there because I got married when I was 22, right out of college. So I didn't have the single years and stuff like that. So, that's how Millie is in a way. She's like, you know, even her name, I had no idea I was going to come up with her name. It just came to me, Jamila, that came to me. And then when I thought about it later, I was like, she's blossoming from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And I'm like, wow. Now that was pure inspiration. I did not plan that, that Jamila is blossoming like that. But,
Mhm.
but that aspect of me is in Jazzy's sister. No, she's not the star of the stories, but her story line would help.
Yes,
Bridget's story, being mistreated by her first husband, her storyline helped somebody. I didn't personally go through that, but someone did go through that, and I'm sure at that time when I got that storyline, that helped somebody.
I agree.
To have hope that there is a Mr. Right out there, you know, just be patient, get yourself together, take care of your family, while you're getting yourself together and Mr. Right is out there. There is a second chance love. I didn't
I
personally
agree.
go through that. My parents are still together, so I didn't go through the divorced parents aspect, but I felt her pain when I wrote that story. I felt that pain when I wrote her story, even though I didn't go through that. So that's why, I know that inspired somebody when I wrote it.
Yeah.
When I wrote Bridget's story, I'm telling y'all it's inspiration because when I wrote her story, I wanted her to be Jazzy's best friend, but I seen her on the shelf, and I was looking at all my curvies. I got all my curvies up here, and I was like, which one of these gonna be Jazzy's best friend? And I was like, I kept looking at them, and I was like, which one of these gonna be her best friend? And I kid you not, I had Bridget just sitting up there, and she looked like she was talking. She had her hand like this. I didn't pose her like that, but she already had her hand sitting like that, like she was talking to the doll next to her, and she just looked like, to me, she looked like that she already had a story to tell, and she looked, and her face looked like she kind of, you know, kind of hard, like she'd been through something to me. So, you know, that's why I picked her. She already stood out, you know. So, the support. That's why I say just flow. Don't worry about how many characters and like do your main story ones.
There you go.
Main storylines, and the other ones will come. And they might not come every day or even every month, but if you have a story that they need to tell at that time, inspiration will have you write that story, and you just write that story and go. Other times you have just, you know, you don't have to have, like, you know, I'm going to have some pictures of Bridget where she's not really talking. They're just out shopping it up and having a good time, you know, and cracking jokes. That's it. She's not going to always have a story every time I post a picture of her. I will post it more by now, but I've been trying to get my junkie craft area together, because when it gets too chaotic, I can't do nothing.
I understand. You know, and we still have life and stuff going on. But we want to thank you guys. I would like to just wrap it up by letting you guys know that our main thing is letting you guys know that anyone can write. Anyone can write. If you have a storyline in your heart, there's no perfect way to write it. Just do it. And the more you do it, you'll end up, you know, it's almost like an autocorrect. You'll start looking at it and saying, well, you know what, on this post, I want to go ahead and put this person's name to show that they're talking, or I just want to go ahead and do it in first person. You know, don't wait until something, you know, major happens in your life and you're going on vacation. You're like, now I can go ahead and do a storyline because I can pose my doll right in front of the Eiffel Tower and be like, here she is, and this is what's going on. It doesn't have to be a major event. It can just, you know, if you want to put the Eiffel Tower on your computer and have her stand in front of the computer and say that she's there, then do that. But, you know, it doesn't have to mimic your life. It can, you know, just like you're saying, you pull inspiration from whenever you're getting certain, you know, frequencies and vibes to be able to write it, and you write it, and you allow it to be something that's going to touch someone else's life. So it can be something that's a part of what's really going on in your life, or it could be a part of what you're sensing, you know. I just sense that I need to put the story out there so it can reach someone else.
And if you don't have a story, just take a picture of them eating and just enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Until you get a story.
I'm fully with you. So I know it's starting to get late, and I gotta go check on my babies.
Thank you guys for showing up and taking
Thank you, my little Kirby. Oh my goodness. I'm thankful that we're able to have this first collaboration, and hopefully we'll be able to do more.
Many more to come.
Yes. Many more to come. And I'm glad you said you were able to take notes. Great. I'm glad that you were able to catch it live. Thank you so much. And I'm totally just so thankful for everyone that was able to come on here, and you guys interacting with us, and just letting us know that you guys were here and are to hear what we were saying, and then pitching in and letting us know, you know, where you're at with your storylines. Because I did read it. I know I saw some people like, you know, I'm good with my clothing. I'm good with my storyline. So just keep doing it. Keep doing it.
It'll come to you as you go. And y'all make sure that y'all subscribe to me too, because I'm going to do some videos with some more winds and horns coming back. And like I said, I got
Are you doing your tea one? You're sipping tea, or you're sewing tea? Are you doing the sewing tea one?
We're gonna do both.
Sew and sip.
The next one that I'm gonna do is gonna be the restaurants. I'm gonna show you guys how you can make one space 10 different ways, 10 different restaurants. You don't even have to have a whole bunch of doll houses and stuff like that. Don't do that, because they'll keep you stuck. But I'm gonna show you how you can make 10 different as many possibilities as you want of one space. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm gonna show you how
And
to
if
do
you
the movie
guys
theater, the
yes,
restaurant, the pool hall, the
there
barber
you
shop.
go.
You can do it all in one space. I'm gonna
There
show
you go.
you guys how
There
to
you
do
go.
that.
10 different spaces. I'm looking forward to seeing it. So
Yes,
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 definitely. If you guys haven't, or if you're not following our pages, follow our
yes,
pages. Mine is Sacred Para. Hers is My Little Curvy World. Check out our
yes,
pages. Follow. Stay with us. So as we do these lives or any other
yes,
videos and posts and stuff, you'll be able to catch it.
yes.
Also,
More
you
jazzy
can
and more
let
jazzy and
yes.
glorious moments too
There you
coming.
go. Yes. And let me know if
Yes,
this was helpful to you. If it was, I want to be able to start doing this more often. So let
yes.
me know if this video and this topic was helpful to you when you watch this. If you didn't get a
I know
chance to
you
catch it on the
do.
live, and if you did catch it on
Girl,
the
you
live,
gonna
just
love what I tell you.
message and let us know, okay? So
Yes, yes.
do you have anything you want to add?
Happy Valentine's Day. Got some
Oh, yes.
Valentine's Day posts coming where they're gonna be at the restaurant. I didn't finish the Jazzy birthday, so what we're gonna do is just gonna change their clothes and they just gonna have them go to the restaurant again.
There you go. There you go. It happens. It happens. It happens. And for myself, I guess I'll just update you guys that I have a whole bunch of pictures that I got to kind of filter out of my phone.
Yes,
So I'll be between today and tomorrow posting those pictures, and then hopefully Sunday be able to put out a Valentine picture for you guys. So
absolutely.
just continue to stay
Just have
tuned with
fun.
us, and you guys exactly have fun and have an awesome
Keep it
Valentine's Day.
fun. Keep it
There
fun.
you go. There you go.
Yep. I love you guys.
Love you all. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, sis.
You're very welcome. We're gonna talk later anyway.
I know we will.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.